No one's late to the game. In fact, you're the farthest thing from late to anything Bitcoin related because, no, most people are still not paying attention. When people, come out with statements like this, to me, it says that they're still thinking in fiat and dollars, euros, or whatever it is. And, they look at the current sticker price of whatever, 90,000, and they're like, well, I can't afford this. The thing is, no one needs to buy one Bitcoin in its entirety in order to get started. Bitcoin is savings technology. So you buy whatever you want, or rather, I don't like even using the word buying because what you're doing is that you're upgrading your savings from that worthless paper to actual sound money. And so you upgrade your worthless paper to money, and it's your savings amount, right? Like you treat Bitcoin as a savings, not as an investment. That savings, though, over time, appreciates in its purchasing power because of its scarcity, 21 million. So imagine when more people figure this out and they also start saving. There's not enough for everyone. In fact, the days of buying that Bitcoin, that we're talking about now and holding it in self-custody, that's going to disappear very, very quickly simply because of its finite supply. There's just not enough. And so that like ginormous generational wealth that everybody keeps referring to when they mention Bitcoin, that's going to be limited to the small number of folks that understand Bitcoin today or in the last 17 years. Because once that's gone, you're never going to see it again. And unfortunately, today, the wrong people understand this as well. And by that I mean governments, institutions, and all these folks. And so they want as much of it as possible because 95% of the supply is mined already. And so, they want as much of it as possible, and they will do whatever they can to separate unknowing folks from their Bitcoin. So, how is the scarcity a plus? Because if you have a tiny amount of Bitcoin, number wise, and that's another mistake people make, is that they make fun of that little number that they see on the screen. I get people that are like, well, I only have a 0.01 Bitcoin. It's a pathetic little number. What's that going to change in my life? I'm like, you're not thinking about this, with the right lens. One Bitcoin is 100 million Satoshi. So your 0.01 represents what? A million sats, right? And so at some point, one sat will have a purchasing power more than $1, for sure. At that point, that small little number that you're laughing at now, well, now it's a significant, it's a significant amount that's available to you. And if you've continuously saved your revenue into something like this, well, you can just do the math and see that your purchasing power goes up forever because the fiat denomination is going like you'll keep adding zeros to your screen if you're denominating in dollars and euros because that dollar or euro is headed to zero and you're going the opposite direction. A very popular example is that of the house. Like people say, 5 years ago they purchased a house with 200 Bitcoin. Today they can purchase the same house with 5. And you give it a little bit more time, then you'll buy it with 2, and then eventually you'll buy it with a 0.5, etc., etc. The scarcity of Bitcoin is what gives it that unlimited purchasing power that we have never known. And so we are not living in that future yet. So it's very hard to wrap your brain around, that concept sometimes, unless again you've done the work, you understand what Bitcoin is, what it represents, and so forth. Then when it clicks for you, you already move your time and energy into that future and you forget about the legacy. Like everyone who's understood Bitcoin the way I'm describing today doesn't complain about money. I've yet to meet a Bitcoiner that's understood Bitcoin in the last 3 or 4 years that complains about money. Why? Because their purchasing power has gone up. For them, things aren't expensive. In fact, things for them are cheaper. If you're still saving in that worthless paper, things are unaffordable. And they're going to continue getting unaffordable at a faster pace because there is no way anyone's going to be able to fill that leaky bucket faster than the rate of the leak itself. Expect all sorts of craziness to become, headline news. And as the world continues to decay, you're going to see more extreme attempts to funnel you into a new version of that legacy system where you have no escape. That is why we're seeing that acceleration of dystopia everywhere. So a lot to unpack here, man. Like witnessing the world in the way it is today is not something I thought I would ever be able to see and, be a part of. But yet here we are. And thankfully, we have enough, individuals, good individuals, doing the work, trying to push out the message, always there to lend a helping hand and to guide as many folks as possible, on the right side of history before they experience hell itself.
I could not agree more. And it's community, right? I mean, it's the average of the 5 people you hang around most. Show me your friends, I'll show you what kind of person you are. And that's why, I'm such a believer in your company. I mean, I'm grateful that we partner together. Club Orange, Brian Demint and Matteo Pellegrini, people that have the freedom ethos, but community is huge, and having people around you, because that's part of this, right? Dragging your friends, your buddies, and not leaving a man behind. And that's kind of the ethos. And we all pick each other up and reinforce those thoughts. So it's just so incredibly important to surround yourself with people like that. And it feels like too, we need to reframe our thoughts, right? And Knut Svanholm, I have the book over here somewhere, but Everything Divided by 21 Million, like we could price the world in sats and get away from the dollar system, could we not?
Absolutely, and there are many tools available this minute that let you do this. There's a very popular widget for your browser. I think it was created by TFTC. I can't remember the name of it, but basically what it does, once you install, it's a free extension. You install it in your browser, and every time you hit a page that has like a price, it puts the Sats equivalent right next to it. And so I've had that installed for a while now, and over time, you see your Sats denomination, going down while the dollar number keeps going up. And so when you have this visually in front of you 24/7, you're smiling every time, you wake up, because you visually see your financial situation improving in real time. And yes, of course, when the fiat price drops a little bit, the numbers change, but when you zoom out, there's more upside than downside, because a lot more people are finally realizing that Bitcoin is the exit to real money, right? And so the steps to living on a Bitcoin standard are also decreasing compared to 17 years ago.
Yeah.
It's almost like a no-brainer to live on a Bitcoin standard. I know, because we live on a Bitcoin standard, and we know thousands of others that are doing it as well. There's a lot more merchants accepting it. Every day, hundreds more, start adopting it. People are building circular economies. Like, for example, just compared to 3 years ago, almost 90% of the things I need are paid in Bitcoin. And for those, where I still have to pay it in fiat, well, I just pay that specific thing, and then I forget about the fiat world. Like, I don't think about it anymore, more than like this temporary thing that I have to deal with, and then you move on. And so as time progresses, the tools become simpler to use. Self-custody is not rocket science. It really isn't. You don't need a tech background. You don't need to be a cryptographer to understand all this. Simple 7 or 8 steps. Once it clicks, you repeat them 2-3 times, and then it becomes normalized in your everyday life. You're doing it on autopilot. Further, as time progresses, those steps, those 7-8 steps, become less. They become 3-4 steps. And at some point, it'll be like a click of a button. You've got your entire ecosystem secured and locked down and ready for use, 24/7. We're seeing this happen. It's extremely exciting. I mean, we at the Bitcoin Way, we test tons of tech that's out there, right? Whether it's hardware, software, and we're continuously fine-tuning our approaches to simplify that entire infrastructure for those that are coming in, so that the learning process, first of all, is a lot of fun. It's completely interactive. Like, you cannot screw this up, because we literally handhold you through all of it. Press here, do this, do that sort of thing. And at the end of it, we train you on how to make this part of your everyday life. And at some point, you won't need us, you won't need anyone. You'll be doing this as if you've been doing it your entire life, and then you'll go out and spread the word to everyone that you care about, because you're so happy with yourself and how things have improved for you, that you instinctively want to go tell everybody around you, and then you're going to have to deal with with them thinking like you're on cheap drugs, until they finally they finally listen to you and then improve their situation as well. Extremely exciting times. Like, I don't like, for me, I don't understand why people don't get excited about this, because it's like almost like someone handing you the universe's biggest lottery ticket is, and requiring you to simply, dedicate just a few hours of your time to understand how to use this lottery ticket, right? And so I'm very bullish on the future, man. Like, I mean, you stay in Bitcoin long enough, you understand, how the game is played and what all the noise and the bullshit out there is about, and you completely dismiss and ignore it. Like, it stops, you become so desensitized to it that, when you read the news, you're almost like smiling from a very far distance, because that can't touch you anymore. Like, you are no longer part of that world, because you have upgraded into, like, you're vibing on a much higher wavelength now, and you are just bringing in more people into that future with you. And incredibly exciting, incredibly bullish. I'm very optimistic on everything that's coming, because again, I understand the tech and I play with these toys and that ecosystem that's being built by some incredibly intelligent people. And so if somebody were to spend just 10 minutes in this world, just, like, think of it as like a preview to a movie, you'd be bullish just as much as I would.
If you like that clip, then you definitely gotta check out this next spicy clip. I think you're really gonna like it. Come on, check it out. But if you want the full version, the full interview, then check that out over here. Come on, do it. I'll see you in there.